A devastating fire broke out in one of the dormitories at Hillside Endarasha Academy in Keene West, Nyeri County on Thursday night, leading to the death of at least 17 students. The inferno, which occurred around 11 p.m., left 14 other pupils with severe burns, and they have been rushed to the hospital for treatment. The deceased students were burned beyond recognition in the tragic blaze. The cause of the fire has not yet been determined, and investigations are currently underway. National Police Service spokesperson Dr. Rosalia Onyango confirmed the tragic incident and noted that a team of police officers, led by Deputy Director of CID John Onyango, is stationed at the school to conduct a thorough investigation. The incident has sent shockwaves throughout the local community and raised concerns over student safety in boarding schools across the country. Initial reports indicate that the fire broke out at around 11 p.m., catching many students off guard as they were already in bed. Firefighters from the local area were the first to respond, but the fire quickly escalated, forcing them to call for additional support from the Nyeri Fire Brigade. The Nyeri firefighters arrived at the scene around 3 a.m., nearly 4 hours after the fire started. By the time they arrived, the damage had already been significant, and the fire had consumed a large portion of the dormitory. Eyewitnesses described scenes of chaos and panic as students, teachers, and first responders struggled to contain the blaze. Parents and guardians rushed to the school upon hearing the news, anxiously waiting for updates about their children. Some parents were seen breaking down in tears as they feared the worst. The flames were so intense that it was impossible to get close. We tried to help as many students as we could, but it was just too overwhelming, said a local firefighter who was among the first responders. According to the Ministry of Education, the dormitory that was engulfed in flames was housing 156 pupils before the fire broke out. The dormitory was exclusively for boys, all of whom were boarders. Hillside Endarasha Academy has a total enrollment of 824 students, with 402 boys and 422 girls. Of these, 156 boys and 160 girls are boarders, while the rest are day scholars. The ill-fated dormitory was a key housing facility for the boys, and its destruction has left a void in the school's boarding arrangements. Many students who survived the incident are traumatized and have been relocated temporarily as the school grapples with the aftermath of the fire. Education Principal Secretary Dr. Belio Kipsang addressed the public in a statement on Friday, confirming the deaths and injuries. He expressed deep sorrow over the tragic loss of young lives and assured parents that the government is taking swift action to manage the situation and support affected families. The Ministry of Education is working closely with the Ministry of Interior and National Administration and the Ministry of Health to manage the situation and ensure that the injured learners receive the best medical care possible, said Dr. Kipsang. Our priority now is to ensure that all students are accounted for and that those injured receive the care they need. The Ministry of Health has launched its own investigations to establish the cause of the inferno. Dr. Kipsang noted that authorities are exploring all possible angles, including electrical faults, arson, and other potential causes. Security agencies have been called in to ensure that a thorough and impartial investigation is conducted. In line with President William Ruto's directive, the Ministry of Education is coordinating with security agencies to uncover the root cause of the incident, Dr. Kipsang added. We are leaving no stone unturned in our pursuit of answers. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos Ogamba, who was on an official trip to China at the time of the incident, is en route back to Kenya to join local teams in addressing the situation urgently. His presence is expected to provide further support to the ongoing efforts by various government bodies. The tragic incident has had a profound impact on the school community, with many students, teachers, and parents struggling to come to terms with the loss. Counseling services have been set up at the school to provide psychological support to the survivors, many of whom witnessed their friends perish in the blaze. Teachers and staff members are also receiving support to help them cope with the trauma. The local community has rallied together, offering support and solidarity to the bereaved families. Many have donated food, clothing, and other essentials to assist those affected. Religious leaders and community elders have also been present, offering prayers and comfort to grieving families. The fire at Hillside Endarasha Academy has reignited broader concerns about safety standards in boarding schools across Kenya. Parents and education stakeholders are calling for stringent safety measures to prevent such tragedies in the future. There are growing calls for the government to conduct safety audits in all boarding schools to ensure that dormitories and other facilities meet fire safety standards. Schools must be safe havens for our children, not death traps, said John Mwangi, a concerned parent who lost his nephew in the fire. We need to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. The government must act now. As the investigation continues, there are increasing calls for accountability. Many are demanding answers as to why it took so long for firefighters to arrive and why the fire spread so rapidly. Questions have also been raised about the school's emergency preparedness and the availability of safety equipment, such as fire extinguishers and smoke detectors. Dr. Kipsang has assured the public that all aspects of the incident will be scrutinized and appropriate measures will be taken against any individuals or institutions found culpable. This is a wake-up call for all of us. We must do everything within our power to protect our children and ensure their safety in schools, he stated. In his closing remarks, Dr. Kipsang extended heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims. The Ministry of Education sends its sincere and heartfelt condolences to the parents, families, and friends of the learners who lost their lives in this regrettable tragedy. We are with you in this time of sorrow and grief. Support for the affected families continues to pour in from various quarters, including government officials, non-governmental organizations, and members of the public. As the community mourns, the focus remains on healing, rebuilding, and ensuring that such a devastating event is never repeated. The tragedy at Hillside Endarasha Academy serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need for improved safety measures in schools and the importance of being prepared to protect the lives of the country's young learners.